Hi YouTube and welcome back to another MLB The Show video. Today I want to go through my gameplay, presentation, audio and video settings I use in the game. If you're new to the game or you're thinking to pick it up on Tuesday on Game Pass or on PlayStation, then this video is for you. I will share the settings I use and also talk about why do I think you should use them as well. I also will show you the difference between various different settings like the PCI and pitching views, so stick around if it's something you are interested in. As always, if you're new, please make sure you like and subscribe, and without losing any time, let's jump into the video. I will start with audio and video, then we will go to the presentation and then to the gameplay, because gameplay will probably take me the longest. So from audio video, it's all up to you. If you're streaming, making content, then you probably want to turn everything off. If you're playing in a living room, I don't know, playing the storylines, you definitely want to have some of this on. For example, the movie audio. You need to make sure you keep this on, because if you're playing the storylines, you need to hear what actually they are saying and showing you in the videos. Crowd volume as well. I personally have it all off because I'm getting annoyed with these sounds, but if you want to hear the crowd actually making some noise, cheering up or asking for a home run, that's what you want to turn on. Then about the sound effects. Sound effects, I probably would suggest you leave it somewhere here because you really want to hear that perfect. If you don't want to hear when you're hitting the ball, then you need to turn this all the way down. The music volume, PA, which is the PA is a public addresser announcer, also have it off. Road to the show player yells volume. Again, if you're playing Road to the Show, you probably want to keep this on. If you don't play that mode and only want to stick to the Diamond Dynasty, then I probably would suggest you turn this off. Commentary volume also off. You can save different various presets. Control speaker, main audio output, video, closed captions. If you want captions, you put it on or off. This is where you do that. Continuous music, I have this off. Defensive music off, and music reverb off as well. So this is something a lot of people don't know, and I think a lot of people figured it out last year. So for example, presentation mode. If you play a lot of offline modes, for example Conquest and everything like that, make sure your presentation mode is set to the fast play. It will skip a lot of little cutscenes, so your gameplay in Conquest, mini seasons and moments will be much faster. Pitch selection camera, I have none because I really don't like when it shows that little thingy in the bottom. Again, I just say probably if you're new to the game, you also would be annoyed with that setting, so press it none. Pitch selection camera focus, pattern pitcher only. Pitch selection camera frequency, high leverage. But I woke up on because you really want to see that kind of presentation. Same about in-game ticker, and the last one is off as well. Before we go and talk about the gameplay, the best way to actually go and find out the best gameplay settings will be into the custom practice. The reason I'm suggesting custom practice is because you can quickly jump into the menus, put let's say a new PCI, new pitching view, and actually see how that looks. So to get to the custom practice, all you do is just go down until the moments, and then you go to the custom practice. You go to the settings, gameplay, and this is where we will start looking at. So this is what I use. I have it all-star, and I probably suggest you have it an all-star as well at the beginning. Competitive style is competitive, pitching difficulty also all-star. Tutorial tips, I have it off. I would also suggest you turn it off if you are new to the game. Still, it would not really help you a lot. Batting tips, all this is off. The new feature tips, I have it on because you never really know if it's a new game, maybe there is something new. So auto fielding I have off, auto throwing I have off, auto base running I have off, auto sliding I have off. Basically, I want to control everything myself. I don't want to like rely on the CPU. Auto infield jump reaction I have on, auto infield dive reaction I also have on, because last year the diving was insane and I want to see how it's this year. If SDS didn't really fix it, then this will help a lot. If they did, I probably will turn it off later on. Warm-up relievers off and auto defensive shift on. If you're good at baseball and you want to manually change your shift, then I probably will turn it off. If you're just starting the game, then I would leave it on. Personally, I'm not competitive player, so I have it on and I don't really notice the big difference. You can still manually change the auto shifts whenever you want. Then we go into the rules. Umpire accuracy, this is pretty much all for the offline play anyways. You'll not see any of this offline. So umpire accuracy is perfect. I don't think I ever really changed anything here, but you can set pitch clock on and off, injuries on and off, ejections, balks, umpire close plays, check swing appeals. Again, this is pretty much if you play, let's say, Road to the Show and other offline modes. And then we have the miscellaneous, is a CPU pitch delay. I have it normal. I don't think I ever changed anything here. Player lock, game flow, skip to the next appearance. This also will make sure your gameplay is a little bit faster. And I like to keep wind on. If we move from general to the controls, then base running interface. If you want to see your base runner speed and steal and all that information, you need to keep it on analog select. You need to use analog select because you really want to make sure you control your base runners, you know who is on the base, you can advance the base runners and do everything yourself. If you want to explore any of these, you can see on the top of the screen there is basically an explanation of any of these settings and what it does. For me, it's analog select. For the swing input, we will go with the buttons. If you want to learn how to play the game, you need to go with buttons. It means you will go with the normal swing, contact swing or power swing. To be honest, I usually only use the normal swing. Contact swing I sometimes use when I'm in a slump and I just need to, let's say, get on the base. You probably will not hit a home runs, but there is a big possibility you can get a single. With a power swing, I don't really use it as far as I'm not doing any kind of like silly challenges. Hitting interface. You need to go with the zone. There is no any other ways. Like, you don't want to go with directional or anything else. Zone is the way to go, and directional camera shift is on, directional hitting indicator is on. PCA anchor, I have it free, or you can have it preset. The difference between preset and free is these 9 dots. You only can set your PCI in any of these. Wherever you will click L3, this is where the PCI will be. If it's free and you press L3, it doesn't really show any of the dots, so it means you can lock your PCI anywhere you want. I want it here, I want it there, I want it here. Wherever you please, you just set your PCI and hope then he will pitch there. When it's preset, you only have an option out of these 9 dots, where free is probably the easiest one because sometimes pitchers like to throw a little bit higher and you cannot reach that area with the preset. PCA anchor reset and PCA anchor dots, I just leave it as it is. PCA plate coverage indicator on, you really want to see that. So PCI center inner outer color opacity fade out is personal preference. So for example, this is the PCI currently used. So the PCI center diamonds, PCI inner none, PCI outer reverb, color white 100%, PCI fade out none. If you're struggling to see the ball and actually read pitches, I would suggest you remove the PCI center. If you change it to none, then you can see there is nothing actually messing up with the view. Once you remove the inner, you can basically clearly see the pitcher. You can see when is he releasing the pitch. You can actually look at his hand and try to read the pitches. It will allow you to clearly be able to just put your controller down, let the pitcher through few pitches and just see where it goes. And that's how you also learn to read the pitches. If you want a game to look a little bit more realistic, you can go with a PCI center bat, then you remove everything else. You can change the color again. I said it's a personal preference. And this is how it would look. You would have a dot into the baseball bat and you would just try to actually hit it. So like I said, I personally don't like it. I just find it quite boring because, I don't know, I feel that it's covering more of the strike zone than it should be covering. You can make it like not so standing out, but again, it's a personal preference, but this is how it looks. PCI fade out as well, like it depends, like if you want to keep all your PCI there, like PCI fade out probably would be outer, all center and outer, inner and outer, and none. I leave it on none because if I choose the PCI, I really want to see all of it. Pitch guess I have off and vibration of the controller I have off as well. Now let's talk about the pitching. The pitching interface for me is pinpoint. You can go with pulse, pure analog, classic, meter, pinpoint. I probably would say you go with pinpoint or meter. Those are the two most common ones. A lot of people use pure analog and pulse, but I probably would say the meter and pinpoint will give you the best option. Pitch ball marker, I have it pitch trail because I really want to see that trail out of pitcher's hand and how he's throwing the pitch. And also for the pitching view, I have it offset zoom. And the reason why I have offset zoom is so when I'm pitching, I can see the first, second, and the third base. So let's say if someone on the first base wants to steal to the second, I can see it and my catcher will be able to throw it out. If I'm having a different pitch view, then I will not always be able to react. So if you look at the camera views, then strike zone 2, and strike zone high is probably the 3 most common views you can use. Strike zone will be the most zoomed in. Strike zone 2 is also quite good. Let's say you're struggling to take pitches and you want to see a little bit outside of the strike zone. You would probably go with strike zone 2. Strike zone 3 on the other side would put yourself way too back and you will be able to see all the strike zone, but as you can also see, it would be harder to read the pitches. It would also be harder to see the ball and your PCI would be smaller. But it would definitely allow you to see when it's a strike, when it's a ball. And in this case, if you want to go with the strike zone 3, I, instead of diamonds, would go with altitude. And the reason why, because you can straight away see it covers a little bit more space and you will be able to make that content. Technically, it doesn't change anything. It's just how you see it. So instead of those little diamonds, now you have a little bit bigger center, and that would allow you to track the ball a little bit better. Because I like to try and read the pitches from the pitcher's hands. That's something I am trying to get better this year. I use the strike zone and sometimes switching to strike zone 2 when I'm getting into the slump. In play view, offense and defense, I have it high. That would allow you to see your outfield and infield a little bit better. If you want game to look visually better, then you probably would go with dynamic. It would not really allow you to, once you see the ball in the outfield, you will not be able to see your infield. The best gameplay experience would be with the high, but the best view experience would be with dynamic. And then the vertical camera movement and horizontal camera movement, I have it standard. On display, I don't have any changes, so you basically leave it as it is. Strike zone on. If hot zones, I have it off because it just covers the strike zone and messes around with my head. Pitch info I have on because I really want to know that. Pitch select display I have pitch description only. Confidence energy bars on. Pitch feedback on because I want to know how is my timing doing. Swing feedback I also have it on because you also want to know your PCI placement and the timing. Base running diamonds you have on. Player name display you have on. Scoreboard display you have on. This is pretty much all the like visual settings. Okay guys, those are the settings I am using in MLB 24. I use the same settings in MLB 23 and 22 as well. These are just the settings for the beginners, and I'm showing you some difference between one setting into another. If you want to try these settings, let me know down in the comment section below. If you decide to go with something else, also let me know down in the comment section below because I'm always interested to try something different. I hope you enjoyed today's video and have a good one. See you next time.